Welcome to another edition of PENSDOWN. On this program, we sit with journalists and get to understand all that they have gone through as far as their journalism journey is concerned. Today, I have been joined by a senior colleague, and I'm truly honored to have her company. She is a multiple award-winning communications professional with over 2 decades broadcasting experience in both public and private media. She is famed for her unbridled passion for delivering compelling and memorable content, which underpin her knack for excellence. As head of news for the Media General's 3FM and TV3, she leads the broadcast team, providing guidance for news and current affairs. She also hosts First Take, a news analysis show on 3FM, which also airs on TV3. She is the recipient of the following awards: Women Excellence Award, Media Category 2017, RTP Award 2011 and 2014 as Newsnight Anchor on Joy FM, CIMG Program of the Year 2007 for Joy FM's Home Affairs, and the National Youth Council's Youth Media Presenter for GTV's Next Level 2003. Between 2017 and 2020, she worked as communications and investor relations manager for Talo Ghana, leading visibility, corporate reputation, and stakeholder management with Ghana's media and Talo's Ghana-based shareholders and investors, which earned the company recognition as the most media-friendly oil and gas company in the Western region by the Western Regional Branch of the Ghana Journalists Association. From 2005 to 2017, she worked with the Multimedia Group, rising through the ranks to become editor at Joy FM in 2013. During her 12-year stint with Joy FM, she broke significant news, such as the resignation of Honorable Hawa Yakubu, who was then MP for Boko, the passing of President Mills, and had interviews with Nana Kwedu Rawlings, the former First Lady, and Presidents Kufuor and Mills. She was anchor for the news analysis program Newsnight from 2007 to 2017, as well as the elections program Joint Caucus in 2016, Home Affairs from 2006 to 2012. She specialized in political agenda and security reporting and was head of Joy News' security desk from 2015 to 2017. Between 2006 to 2008, she was presidential affairs correspondent. From 1997 to 2005, she worked with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, where she hosted the unique breakfast drive on radio and the Ghana Television's youth show, Next Level, from 2003 to 2005. She is an accredited member of the Institute of Public Relations Ghana and a member of the Ghana Journalists Association. Joining me today on PENSDOWN is Dzifa Bampoh. Thank you very much for joining me.
You're welcome. Thank you, Nana JC.
First of all, I want to find out, do you have a history of journalism in your family?
No, I think I'm the first journalist in the family.
So at what point did you discover the journalist in you?
I never discovered the journalist in me. The truth is, I always say this, and I think in many interviews, people ask me that answer is the same. I got in by accident and I've been in it, and that's how I grew the talent. I grew to like it and I felt it was worthwhile doing it. And so here I am, many years later, still doing it.
You've done this for more than 20 years. How exactly has something that you got in by accident been able to keep you for more than 2 decades? What has kept you going all these years?
Well, I must admit, I also get surprised when I realize it's 25 years. It's actually 25 years this March.
Okay.
And I'm really grateful to God because this is not exactly in mind. I think I'm the kind of person who believes that you should stick at doing what you do best. I found that I did this job well, and so I decided to just keep at it. I didn't expect I'll be in it for this long, I must admit. But I think one of the things that have kept me going is wanting to do new things.
Okay.
So if you look at my background, I've done different things over the 25-year career span. But when I got in, there were different things one could do. It could be a music presenter, a program presenter for radio. Then there was television, TV production, radio production. Then there's also general news, general production. Then there's newsroom work, which is different from working as a presenter. So there were different things. And then there's reporting, which is also different from your sit-down news production work you or news writing. So over the 25 years, I've done so many different things. And in doing the key operations work, I've also led teams.
Okay.
So that also brings a different perspective to the job because you are an operations person, you're a thoroughbred journalist, but you are leading a team. You have key performance indicators you have to meet. So there's just so much that I've done over the period that's different, which maybe is the reason why I've managed to stay, because I tend to get a bit bored when I do a certain aspect of the job and I've become very good or adept at it, or if I am able to close my eyes and do it, or I don't have to prepare much to do it, then it means I'm bored. It means soon I have to change and find something else. So that's what maybe has kept me going for this long period.
How much of your privacy have you sacrificed since you got to TV, since you started appearing on TV?
That's an interesting question. Not so much, I must say. Not so much. I just keep to my professional job. And I don't necessarily talk much about my person or my private life or my family, except in specific circumstances, if I have to be very specific about certain things. So a lot of people, what they know, or they think they know me, but what they know is the person they experience on TV or experience video. But the truth of the matter is a lot of people don't really know it's me.
Okay.
You see, I built a radio career which involved an anonymous persona. So most people knew this name, Dzifa Bampoh, but they didn't really know the person physically. Okay. So I would go to places and people don't really know who I am. I may speak and they would say, oh, the voice sounds familiar, but because I don't want them to know who I am, I just say, oh, I don't think we've met, and I just move on. So in a sense, much as I'm on TV, I still find that people find it difficult to realize that I'm the one. So they may meet me in person. But the other thing is, when you see me on TV, I've done my hair, I have makeup, all these things, I'm dressed in a certain fashion. But once I step out of the studio, I change, I dress down, my hair becomes ordinary, I take off all those things. And so when people meet me in person outside the office compound, they don't realize I'm the one. Oh. So in a sense, I'm still able to get away. A few people will still try and look, and they'll be like, you look very familiar. This is a person that I don't know. And to be honest, I don't really want to continue a conversation, not because I don't want to talk to the person, but I don't really like to talk too much about my job. I don't want people to notice that it's me and now go on and on and on. I just say, oh, maybe we've met somewhere, but we can't remember. We say a pleasant hello, goodbye, and I move on. So I still try and maintain a balance. on that.
Okay. Does journalism pay?
Well, it depends on what you do. You see, a lot of the younger crop of journalists who've come in are trying to leverage social media, digital media, and use that to earn income. But it doesn't come, they may earn an extra income, which is good, but it doesn't come from the original employer. So the original media owners and employers, they don't pay well. If you're a media journalist and you are, what's the word? You are entrepreneurial, or you are resourceful, you are driven, what you could then do is you use your personality, your public persona, your public profile to do external things that will bring you extra income. So that is where I think a lot of the journalists who make some good money, they make their money externally. They MC programs, they moderate events, they manage panel sessions, they provide communications consultancy, advice on media publicity and media buying. But what it also means is that you end up doing like 2 or 3 jobs, because you're doing your day job or your official job, and then squeezing out time from your normal schedule to do this private work to earn additional income. So that's why some media PCT, even when they've been in an organization so long and they are not being paid, what they are trying to do is they are leveraging on their public presence to get these extra works and make extra money. Because sometimes the people also providing these additional work and resources, they need your public profile to do so. So if you leave the media organization and you are not working in a media organization, you may not have the public profile that they are looking for.
That's right.
And thus they will not pay you, or they are unable to give you that job, because your personal profile provides intrinsic value. That's where you get the extra work from. So it's difficult. They don't pay as well. But the truth is, it's not everyone who also gets these opportunities. A lot of the time, if you're an on-air person, the opportunities are immense. But if you're just a producer, a background person, it can be difficult because then no one knows you. And so such people tend to suffer a lot in silence. So it's a mixed bag of things. It also depends on the economy. When I started, all these social media, digital media, online media, all these big events, moderations, conferences, panel management, they were not there.
There's a debate going on this platform. Should journalists be licensed?
Oh, I don't think journalists should be licensed.
Okay.
I don't think so. Because the resources we use belong to the public. Like I told you, I did my foundation training at GVC. GVC has a radio training school, we have a TV training school. Later on, I went to pursue a master's in communications at the University of Ghana, but it was all theory. There's no practical experience with that. They will tell you to go and do an internship somewhere as part of your master's program. I think it was a 3-month internship, but it's not enough. In other countries, when you pick up a master's in communications, for instance, you are required to work at the campus newspaper or the campus radio station to build on your experience. They also have affiliates with companies where you pick up on your public relations experience. So they provide that practical theory to practice coupling for people to be truly professional. Here, our training, unfortunately, is a lot of theory. It was only in GPC that because they have the radio training school or the TV training school, they have the equipment, it becomes practical.
You have done more than 20 years in journalism. If we are to go back into time, 30 years, would you still choose journalism and broadcasting for that matter?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because, it's very demanding. When I think of the time I've invested and my income, it saddens me
Hmm.
because everyone deserves to be paid for their labor.
Hmm.
And for some of us who demonstrate a commitment to the job, a commitment that is based on upholding integrity, upholding excellence, a commitment to service. You are now disrespected as a journalist because they think you are poor, or there's a perception that journalists take money. So they think that if they throw 200 CDs at you, it's okay.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't advise my children to become journalists, to be honest. I wouldn't want them to. But it's my profession. It's where I am. I can't do anything to change it. The best I can do is to continue to do my best until such a time I find alternative work where I can deploy the skills that I've gained in a relevant manner.
Have you ever been offered anything, money or something material, to compromise the details of a story you were doing?
Not really, but what tends to happen is that when a story is covered, people want to give you money so that the way you write the story or cover the story casts them in a positive light. In those instances, I haven't taken. I always tell them that if your story is a good one, it will be good. You don't need to give me money for it. The issue of Solly is a very controversial issue. And I think as practitioners in the profession, we need to eventually come to a mind about Solly. When I was at GBC, I always say that even though the salary there was so poor, I wouldn't take anybody's money to do programs. The music presenters also have something called payola, where local musicians release their music and they want it played. And so they go and give money to the music presenter. It's also a form of Solly. I, as a person, I was brought up not to accept those monetary inducements for my work. If the year has passed and it's Christmas time and you come and give me a gift, I won't down in the year and all that. I don't have a problem with that. But if I'm actively covering your program and you give me money, that's no. So throughout my career, I've always rejected money. Sometimes they will come later and bring you money. When they bring me money like that, what I do is, even if I take it, I just say, oh, this one I'm not taking it for me. I'm going to give it to my crew. Because a lot of the time when you are in TV, you have cameramen, soundmen, and those team members. And a lot of the time, they don't even have the privileges you have because you are the face of the company. So when I get those, I give it to them. You know. So my view on Solly is that I don't think we should accept it for active events. However, it's a complicated matter depending on where you work. When I worked at Multimedia, there was an express policy, no Solly. If you take it, it led to summary dismissal. And so coming from GBC, where the salary was even more good and I didn't use take people's money, it wasn't difficult to align to that policy. But there are many media houses who don't pay their staff. We need to come to a mind about Solly. You can institutionalize it such that it does not become an influence peddler. So if as an institutional group, media, we decide that, look, if media comes to cover your events, it involves logistics. It involves a reporter taking transport. It involves the reporter doing a live report from the event, which requires data. It requires all these logistics for the reporter to operate properly and deliver content in a timely, efficient manner. And we agree that from here on now, this amount will be given at all events to facilitate that. Then there's no problem with that. It still means that there is an editor sitting somewhere who determines or makes the editorial decision, not the person organizing the event, or not the politician who is granting the interview. So that in time, people will know that, look, even if I gave 200 CDs or 500 CDs after this event, I still have to be worried about what the outcome of the story is. Because if the story is a bad one, it's not 500 CDs that will change it. And it's not 5,000 CDs that will change it. Because you have an editor there that is sticking to principles. It's not the reporter who has come to your event who makes that decision. So I think it's a conversation we need to have, knowing fully well the difficulties in our media environment, where many people own media houses for its intrinsic value. They want to own the media house because they want to control the national conversation for their partisan political interests. They want to own a media house because it becomes one of the first lines of action if you want to put out information. It gives people a certain power. That is why people own media houses, to be honest. The people who own it for business, there are few. The Multimedia Group, the EIB Group, the Media General Group, what's their name? The Despite Group, the Class Media Group. A lot of them are owning it for business, but there are not many. The graphic communication. But the majority of people who hold media licenses and are using them, radio, TV, website, they are using it to control information, to shape the national conversation, to drive a certain narrative, to promote political partisan interests, and to ensure that they are part of that decision when it needs to be made. That's why people own media houses. It's not for business necessarily. So we need to have a whole new conversation about Soli and what it is, what it does, what it's for, and all that. But until we do that, some of us remain a bit opposed to it.
With this, your extensive repertoire of experience, are you thinking of going into academia? I think some upcoming journalists will be interested in sitting at your feet to learn. Are you thinking of going into lecturing or?
I don't know. I mean, I must be honest, the jury is still out there on that, because I would like to go back to school if I get an opportunity through a scholarship.
Okay.
Then if I get a scholarship, I would do it. But if I don't know. What I would say though is I work in a media house as head of news at Media General, TV3 and 3FM, and I still provide training, guidance, support. And even for people who contact me externally, I do sing, and I do it for free. I don't charge anyone for it because I feel like it's a talent and a gift I've been given. I don't think I should take people's money to share my knowledge or experience with them. But yes, I mean, I keep thinking of what's a good way to continue sharing the knowledge I have, the training, the experience. I haven't come to a firm decision on it yet. Let's see what happens eventually.
How many more years are you going to go before finally bowing out of the terrain? How many more years?
I really don't know. I mean, I came back to media due to personal circumstances in 2021. So I don't know how long I'll be here. What I will say though is, I guess once a journalist, always a journalist. I'm sure even if I've retired and I'm asked to do a program again, I'll still apply the same principles and processes, albeit a bit amended to suit the environment and the times we are in, to do what needs to be done. But I must admit, I would be open to pursuing other interests. I don't know if I want to, I don't think I want to stay much longer, after another 2 or 3 years, I don't know. But if another opportunity that is interesting, it's challenging, it's competitive, comes my way, it's likely that I would like to hop on board.
What is your honest assessment of the quality of journalism today, especially having been part of the before 2000 group?
It's both good and bad. What I would say is those who are doing well, they are doing very well. And those who are not doing well too, they are doing poorly. So that's the challenge. We have a group of media houses who are doing well. I mentioned some of them earlier.
Yes. Yes.
And then you have some community radio networks also that are doing well. I think there's Radio Ada. Yeah. There's one at Winneba. I've forgotten it's Radio Peace. I think that's their name.
Yes, that's
and a few others in the north, Radio Justice, and a few others in the Upper East region. Yes, the Upper East region, Upper West region. So what I think is happening is that we have some very good media houses, but they are all concentrated in Accra or maybe Kumasi, Takoradi. Yeah, it's not good enough. It doesn't democratize the process, because what has happened is that people are in Upper West region connecting their radio frequency to Joy FM, City FM, 3FM, and they are listening to news generated in Accra. So what has happened is you don't have journalists in those regions developing content for their unique indigenous environment. They're depending on us in Accra who generate the information. And a lot of the information we generate is very Accra or Kumasi or Takoradi centered. It doesn't take into consideration where I come from in the Volta region, Vuja. It doesn't. So someone is in Vuja and they are listening to me, Accra News or Peace FM. You know, we don't have enough local language broadcasts in the other languages. That's something I would like to see. That's something I would like to see. So there are some who are doing very well, others are not. Then the other thing with our media landscape is there's a shift. Initially, radio was like the big media thing. Radio is slightly on the decline now. That's because of social media. So now people go to social media and they get all their information there. Sometimes they get the information there. They only come to radio just to verify or to validate if the information is true. But social media depends on visuals. It depends on video recordings. And that is how come TV is now enjoying a resurgence. So now when someone sees something on social media and it's embossed TV3 or it's been branded TV3, people want to come back and watch TV3 and see the fuller or bigger story. And so now a lot of people are paying more attention to television because of social media, and radio rather is on the decline. But what has now happened is to keep radio relevant, they are now using digital media tools like broadcasting via social media. So someone is in a radio studio, but you can watch them on Facebook, you can see them in person, you can see their studio. So that's the tilt now for a lot of radio stations or broadcast organizations. So there's a lot of change that has happened in the last 5 to 10 years. And we need investment to improve quality. We cannot do proper content without investment. I'll give an example. Mnet, or should I say, they are called MultiChoice, yes. MultiChoice has an Aquaba Magic channel. They show Ghanaian locally produced content there. Ghanaian television station is broadcasting this content. Example being Inspector Bediakun or Accra Medic or Didi or whatever. That is because these media houses in Ghana don't have money to commission local productions. So what has been the trend is people like Shelley Frimpong Manso, Ivan Kwashiga, and co, who own these production houses, they go and produce a production and come and give it to the media house. The media house now has to look for money or incentives to the production houses for Shelley, Ivan, and the like. But you have MultiChoice, which has provided funding and given money to these entities to produce local production for their Ghanaian audiences across the continent or the globe. So if we want some of those quality content on local TV, we need funding, we need investment to improve the quality of television programs, the quality of radio programs. I'm sure if you go and do a content analysis, most of the programs on TV are reality shows because it's easy to produce. Yes, it's easy to produce, or they are telenovelas. But when it's like Inspector Bediako, nothing like that exists. It means you have to invest money. So as a country, we need a source of funding to support media houses to produce good radio and local production. That significantly, we are complaining about the quality of production. And I say this because I know people say that there is no need for TV license fees for GBC anymore. I may agree with them in a certain sense, but what I think we need to do is to find a different way of getting money from the Ghanaian public, but we will not call it TV license.
Okay.
We have to, yeah. So I'll give an example. The ministry or the government collects communication service tax, isn't it?
It does.
If we were of one mind, we could say, okay, 20% of that money should go to media content development. So it goes into a fund, maybe it's managed by the Media Commission, and then the Media Commission can allocate funding to GBC, to private media houses, so that they can use it to produce local content that is good. And then maybe yearly you provide an audit of what you've done with your money. What are the ratings? Because then you now have to measure if people like it, people don't like it, then we know. So that we need something like that.
Has your job ever put your life in danger before?
I think we are all at some risk every day. As to whether it's because of the job or because there's a disgruntled audience member, it's hard to say. I'm not an investigative journalist, so I can't compare myself to the likes of Manasseh Azure, or even look at what happened to Ahmed Swale, and his senior colleague, Anas Aremia. So that level of risk, I wouldn't say I've experienced, but I've received a few death threats before. I think some twice or thrice, because I interviewed a politician and I was deemed to have been too hard on him. But beyond that, I wouldn't say I take a lot of the threats seriously, because I haven't done the kind of investigative pieces that may potentially pose a threat to my life or that of my family.
What has been the most exciting interview you've ever had? I mean, when you were done, you yourself, you patted yourself on the back that this one, I did it.
That's a slightly difficult to answer, because I've done so many interviews. It was an Nana Konadu interview that I did.
Okay.
And she decided to contest the flag bearership of the NDC. And I went to speak with her, and that was like her first comment. I was the first person to get that interview. And I think that was an interview that, yes, I did well back then. But there have been so many. So I can't immediately remember. But in recent times, since I've been at TV3, I think the one I did quite well was one with the Interior Minister, Ambrose Derry. This was in the aftermath of the bullion van shooting at Adidinpo near Jamestown.
Yeah.
And I had an opportunity to interview him on that and other security-related issues. Don't forget, I used to head the security desk at Joy, so I'm quite familiar with a lot of security issues relating to the police, the military, conflict, and the like. So that was something that I was quite on top of, even though it was an impromptu interview. So I think that's one that I think has been memorable for me.
Let me pull the brakes here. It's been exciting, truly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you
Right.
for listening to me as well. And thank you for your time, and to your audience as well
You're
for,
welcome.
for the
This has been
viewership.
PENSDOWN, and we've had the company of Dzifa Bampoh. She heads news at 3FM and TV3. That is one of Ghana's solid media brands. She's taken us through her journalism journey, told us some of the things we didn't know about her, and also giving perspective about some pressing issues around. We'll be back next time with another episode. Stay tuned.